Hello, I'm Bret and you're watching The Defining Moment for Creating the Culture of Conscience. Our guest today is Felix G. Winston II. Felix is a member of the Baha'i Faith and serves as the chairman of the Interfaith Council at California State University, Northridge. Felix is a retired businessman who was born and raised in Arkansas and has lived here in Southern California for over 50 years. Felix is married and has a son and a granddaughter. Felix Winston, welcome back to The Defining Moment. It's really a pleasure for me to welcome you back to our studio today.
I'm certainly glad to be here. I appreciate it so very much.
Thanks for coming. Our topic today is Interfaith Harmony, Replacing the Obsolete Paradigm of Separation and Division. And I'd like to begin by inviting you to share a defining moment from your own life.
Very good. Well, it has to do with just the topic you just mentioned, is that how did I get on this path? In the early or late 90s, I was aggressively doing work with the race unity program at the community, in the community of Baha'i Faith. And because it's, well, I should say maybe it's apparently something that I was particularly interested in from the standpoint of the racial standpoint, as well as expressing what I have come to embrace because of my faith. I was always seeking an opportunity and finding them where I could speak to the problem of the race unity problem. And I'm sure after a while I had become somewhat polarized position on this, and I didn't know it. It wasn't obvious to me because I was doing what I thought had to be done. And a friend of mine who was listening to me and kind of closely related to what I was involved in said to one day that you might want to change that R from race to religion. So instead of religion problems, instead of the race problem, address it from the standpoint of religion. And it was like a bolt of lightning. I said, oh my God, this is really something. Religion dialogue for the differences, where people can comfortably relate to. Because black and white on both spectrums have problems with always bringing up the race thing. You know, they rather get away from it, others don't want to entertain it. But when you're involved with passion because you think this is a solution, you can overplay the game. And so I was doing that. And when I saw this little breakthrough that this is something that you can deal in and with without offending, because there's an obvious realization that there's religious differences, and sometimes it's kind of raises the hair, or kind of it's a little disturbing, but it's not like having the old race thing that jump up and it's so ugly. And so I got on a path. It turned into what I'm doing now, and that is interfaith education. Simply a medium or a circumstance where we can comfortably talk about the common road to well-beingness and simply address it from the standpoint of there are religious differences. There are programs that address it, and let's do it amicably. We don't have to do what I was doing, preaching and shouting. So I'm so glad that I found that light, that crack to where I could say, religious differences are not as distasteful as racial differences. And I've been enjoying my work ever since.
And you've really become a bridge builder.
Absolutely.
In bridging different religions and different faiths through your interfaith work.
Absolutely, absolutely. Versus, and the language is so comforting too. All right, when you're talking against something, there's a different energy that goes out.
Yes.
I'm against racial. I'm against, But I embrace the opportunity to talk about our common faith, our common purpose, our common objective. See, and it becomes better digesting for yourself as well as those who are listening to that.
And you really end up making a contribution to people who are looking for someone who can provide that kind of vision.
Absolutely. I find that very true, is that you can be embraced by a lot of folks who you couldn't be embraced by, who trying to figure out, well, why is he so bitter? Why is he, I didn't do it. I'm not causing his racial problem. And this is understandable.
Yes.
Whereas if you're talking about what we can do, what we have the opportunity to do, then, okay, I'll join you with that. And this has been the reception to it. Interfaith education is a way to build bridges to a better community.
And you do that by finding the common ground.
Common ground.
That religions share in common.
Very, very well put. That's absolutely the fact.
Excellent. Why has human civilization grown accustomed to the flawed paradigm of separation and division?
It's becoming more of a problem as we learn more about why we do what we do with the advancement of the IT, the interface technology, and the opportunity to necessarily learn about others and circumstances, because we have to answer our daily decision making, because we're in a multicultural situation. See, early on there was just this tribe and that tribe.
So in a sense, it's just a matter of convenience in the past that people would think in terms of my tribe, or the separation consciousness served a particular end.
That's right, absolutely. And in doing that, it became also a blind for doing otherwise, because it's comfortable. I can live 40, 50 years and I don't got to worry about that. Let them worry about that. You can't do that now. In the multicultural situation, you don't know who's next door who practices whatever he or she practices. And that it just becomes almost essential that you know something about what's going on. We see it all the time, expressions of what we try to trace to all the cause of that, this is the cause of that, when in fact it's a frustration. First of all, you feel you can't do anything about anything, and you exclude yourself, when in fact you can't do that very easily. It's almost impossible to get around what's going on because of the very need to protect you and yours.
Just to function well in a multicultural reality.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, very good. Why is humanity gradually coming to the new awareness that the mindset and ways of the past of separation and division do not lead to happiness, prosperity, and fulfillment?
Because of the things that we're confronted with, the decisions that we have to make on a daily basis. And if we make those without acknowledging what's available, see, not only are we out of step with, we don't inherit what the new insight has presented. See, there are a whole generation or two who are subject to the frustration of not being in step with what's been revealed and what's been made available. And see, and this is all part of the new culture of learning from where we are as to how we participate in our society, in our community. And the interfaith base, the interfaith approach is a very significant, in my opinion.
It's in a sense an evolution in human consciousness to look at religion from an interfaith perspective, is it not?
Absolutely. Then you can kind of fast forward individually, purposefully, and in doing so, the ethics of interfaith becomes a very much supportive network of how to get along, how to approach the problems.
And yet, in reality, not everyone's working in the area of interfaith, so they don't benefit from those valuable insights which people like yourself have benefited from.
Yeah, that's right, because you don't participate comfortably or even in a contributory way, because that's necessary. Is that, and you will do this when we can, across the street from one another, relate to a common problem, and then we can comfortably share about the problem in the community. as a relationship, as a strengthening community relationship. There are ties there that can take place because of a comfortable sitting and talking and sharing. And this is what the interfaith engenders and what it presents.
In a sense, September 11th kind of took us a step forward.
Fast forward.
Fast forward in terms of the need to understand that there are other religions out there, that we have to have some level of understanding about them just to get by.
Just to, for our own safety, not thinking of our own peace of mind.
Yeah,
you know,
just for practical reasons.
Pragmatic. And the thing that really stands out, and I'm sensing in the communities, that there is a lot of effort with different groups to present a not necessarily favorable, but a true look at the Eastern cultures, because we've had very definitely pronounced, speaking about September 11th, pronounced efforts to, demonize,
yes,
if you will,
And that doesn't help.
That doesn't help. There's approximately 1.7 billion Muslims, and the same thing with Christians.
And to have a handful of extremists spoil an entire faith,
right, absolutely,
there's just something not right about that.
That needs to be looked at. That needs to be entertained, and in a setting that's comfortable and safe.
Yeah.
And that can happen because of the desire for everyone, in one way or another. If it's by my faith, I can do it, or by your faith, you can do it. The desire is there to have this common ground of approaching well-being.
Mutual respect.
Mutual respect.
And appreciation of the other, the unknown other. It's a discovery and learning process. We have to open ourselves up. In a sense, you have to kind of make yourself vulnerable to engage in that, right?
Yeah.
It's sometimes risky business.
How do you learn? You learn by giving up something that's not valid or not best interest of well-being is, and that's painful. And so we have to be prepared to get in a learning posture, and then as we do that and become a way of life, a learning posture to promote the well-beingness of humanity, of the one universe, not only one world, but the one universe.
Yes.
And as we do that, we have a broader base to look at, and we experience happier moments.
Life becomes more interesting and richer, no?
It's just a challenge.
When you have that kind of openness toward discovering what's over there.
Right. And so this is so exciting in reality.
It's exciting work when you actually
right. As you experience
get into it. Okay, great. Now, what about the progress of human history and the new millennium has convinced you that the human race is preparing itself to let go of the flawed paradigm of separation and division?
Because it's not working. And it's
not
retarded.
It's bankrupt.
Absolutely. We can say it really obsolete. See, there are, there's an expression that knowledge is names and attributes. That's all knowledge, just names and attributes. So as we become aware and become enlightened, there are a lot of names and attributes that should be dropped off as obsolete, because they don't, in fact, add to, they continue to nurture the separation. And it isn't that you're going to go and get your dictionary and strike them out, but you're going to put it in your reality of thinking. And so we see a lot of work now when it deals with how do you express it. I use this term a lot because I get involved in it, and that is that I don't talk against racism. I just drop it off the list. Because when I'm talking about it shouldn't be, that's a negative. So when I put interfaith in place of that, then I say promote and develop interfaith. It's an absolute different charge, just for different energy. And see, and these are the kinds of things that the individual can do. We got 6.7 billion people on the planet, or on planet Earth. And the thought of a positive occurrence, the belief that there is a better world, that there is a world peace available and presentable and achievable. This is a big step. If I believe that I'm operating on the faith. The faith consciousness is that the substance of things that I hope will happen.
Without having the evidence that they will happen.
Absolutely.
So a leap of faith is required there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is taught in all of the disciplines. See, and this is the kind of thing that we can rally around and say, oh, that's great. See, it's great. It's the thought. See, and then from that will come our other approaches, because we'll say, that's a confirmation. And this creates a different thought pattern, a different approach to solving the problem. Because nothing happens before the thought. We are what we think.
We're products of our thinking. So in a sense, you're talking about inventing a new future.
Absolutely. We are in charge of that. See, the conflict that we're experiencing in the world can be reduced to simply that. Is that how do I think? And it's obvious as we listen to the news and the description of what's on the grounds in Iraq.
But now, I think on a realistic basis, we never really we don't point the finger to ourselves when we look at the absence of world peace. We point the finger out there,
right,
and say the problem's out there.
Absolutely.
We don't say the solution's in here.
That's true.
But I heard you just say the solution's within myself. And I think you have to underline that, because I think that goes in one ear and out the other, that the solution to world peace is within me. And me is whoever happens to be listening to our TV show today, in addition to myself, right?
Is it? Well, see, that's the leap of faith we're talking about.
But how can that possibly be true that one person?
Beautiful. That's the issue.
I want to put you on the spot since you said it.
That's the issue. Do I believe that world peace is possible? I mean, really, I ask myself, do I believe that? With all the problems that are going on, the way people act, this and that, and seemingly indifference, you really believe world peace can happen? Yes. Because there's a basic equation. You produce what you think, nothing else. You produce what you think. Now, you can subscribe to what someone is handing out for thought, and you subscribe to it, and that's what happens. You still think it because you subscribe to it.
Even though somebody else, in a sense, thought it
and handed it to
for you, kind of prefabricated.
That's right. So when you get it, you say, "Oh, okay, I'll go that way." I'll go that way. And see, and this is so simple. It's serious. It's just out of sight, because this is really some kind. I don't know what he's smoking, but this is really.
It's the way things actually work. But it's kind of unbelievable in a sense that I can cause world peace through my thought.
I can effectively be a part of bringing a world peace.
Obviously not single-handedly, but part of the global process.
Yeah. That's how you participate in what already exists. See, the universe is in place. The universe is the biggest expression of unity.
And peace.
And peace. It moves through the process of evolving and doing what it does. Now, I'm a part of that oneness of the universe. And as I do what I do, I contribute to the unity. I don't look at making unity because it exists before I even show up. But I start to participate in the unity. And how do we do that? We do that by instructions. We do that by proper instruction. We do that by observing the universal spiritual principles. Universal spiritual principles. We observe them.
But in a sense, you also have to, in a sense, reject the flawed paradigm.
Well, the flawed paradigm takes care of itself because it does not, in fact, contribute to this kind of thinking. See, the flawed paradigms are one over here, one over here. So it can't happen on this side. Over here, that's the duality. That's the, when and if we get rid of this, this will be okay. But on the other hand, when we recognize, see, accepting unity, accepting the existing unity is such a big factor, because then you don't go around looking to bring some unity. You're looking as to how to participate in unity through universal spiritual principles. True. It's universal spiritual principle in place, been in place, function.
From the beginning of time.
From the beginning of time. And how do you participate in it? You learned what some of the principles are and how to think what you want to see happen. How you use the faith approach. I want to see world peace. Oh, great. Good for you. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to think about it. Oh, my God. He's going to think about it. He's going to think about world peace. Yes. I believe it can happen. And with that,
it has a ripple effect, you're saying.
Ripple, absolutely. Mm-hmm. There's only 6.7 billion people on the planet. Mm. So we can get around, we can move that around a bit and get the word out. And that's literally true. You get the word out.
Well, especially in today's global village.
We have all the know-how. See, communication is just fast forward so that you're talking and participating with people that you didn't even know existed, or their kind, or their community, or their lifestyle.
Yes.
And now you have the position and the techniques to participate in their lifestyle, because you're getting reports on what they do, that they are trying to survive. You're getting a report on them. Say, oh my God, I can think about that family that just got blown away, or half of them got blown away. I can think about them.
Pray for them.
There's an energy. Pray for them. See? And we have this at our disposal. As a matter of fact, it's a necessary thing.
Okay, very interesting. Even though it's become obvious to many or most spiritually minded people that the flawed paradigm has become totally obsolete, we still see factions clinging on to the remnants of the old ways of separation and division. Why do these obsolete ways sometimes die a slow death?
Very much so the ills of, I want to keep mine. I want my position protected at the expense of, not even considering at the expense of, the blindness of the base you work for and with. And this is a very self-preservation thing. It's an ego-based thing. And this is, you can't just kick it out, but you can bring attention to it. Of an example, typical example, a leader of a group usually attracts the group because of the insight and the light that he gives. And as he gives the light, it develops into a kind of a center for power. And this is in the political also, is that there's a base that you hold on to because of what you bring. Now, because of the unrest that occurs when people start to learn in the church or other organizations, they jump ship occasionally, or at least entertain it. And when they do that, the power base diminishes. And it isn't exactly nurturing or developing further insight for his followers, and therefore the followers do not get a chance or a free rein to look around unless they are very bold as a result of their insight that they've gathered to say, well, yeah, I know, but I'm going to go over here now because he doesn't feed me anymore. And this is literally true. And so this sets up a model for the base of how to have your prestige, your benefit by keeping the hood pulled over the eyes of those who are honestly and who have advanced because of your teaching. So this is a system, and I say this when I say this kind of as a thing that I have embraced in the Baha'i faith, is that the independent investigation of truth has preempted the need for clergy, and there is no clergy in the Baha'i faith. And one is encouraged and truly pushed to investigate truth and come up with some answers for your plight, your situation. And there's no tendency to retard the promotion deliberately, but to promote investigation of truth. And there's what we're talking about here is that a progressive organization is progressive to a point to where it does not destroy the organization, but to keep things in place and offer the learning, the new insight. But what you just pointed out there is a reality, that if I feed you too much, or even if I dare think of taking a bite from another table, it's not exactly what keeps the society intact. And learning is education is the problem for ignorance, because it means that you exchange painfully what you behold rather than give up ignorance for insight. And that's kind of a little look at the idea of why doesn't the information that's available get to more people. It's a situation of the ego and the circumstance that presents itself when you are challenged about what you are doing, that's your thing. And and this is it's my observation. I don't present that as a thing that is the most welcome thing, but it's my observation.
Okay, well, on that note, Felix Winston, I want to thank you so much for being our guest today in the Defining Moment. I've really enjoyed listening to you, and I want to thank you so much for your contribution today.
Thank you for having me here.
My pleasure. You've been watching The Defining Moment for Creating the Culture of Conscience. You can find us on the internet at www.definingmoment.tv. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.